Good morning and welcome to the UU Fellowship of Beaufort virtual worship service on September 13th, 2020. We are glad you are here this morning, whether you are joining us on your laptop, iPad, tablet, or smartphone. Whatever it is that brought you to this community, whichever paths you have traveled, whomever you love, whatever your ethnicity or immigration status, know that you will find safe harbor here. At UUFB, we celebrate the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, guided by love with open minds and hearts. We work together to create the beloved community of justice, compassion, and peace. And we have some announcements this morning. While our in-person worship services and meetings are suspended, please contact Reverend Lori or Nick about scheduling committee meetings via Zoom. Reverend Lori will be hosting a Zoom Connect online meeting this week on Friday morning. Watch the website, the headline news, and the UUFB Beloved Community Forum Facebook group for links to join the check-in meetings. You'll also get a reminder email out to members about 2 hours before each meeting. At the end of the worship service, we'll leave Zoom rooms open for a while for virtual socializing and breakout rooms. And I have another announcement from Jenny Eads. Greetings from the 2020 UUFB Mini Auction Committee. You will shortly be receiving an email inviting you to participate in the 2020 UU Mini Auction. The email will be from UUFB Auction or from Virginia Eads with the subject of 2020 Mini Auction. The email will direct you to the Mini Auction website. One of the menu items on that website will allow you to donate items that will be considered for inclusion in the mini auction catalog. More details on how to donate items will be included in the email. The mini auction website link will also be included in headline news coming out on Thursday, and it was, I saw that. We hope that you will consider donating an item, service, or creative idea to the mini auction so we can participate in an exciting and socially responsible way to support UUFB and the SCJ organizations that need help financially more than ever. Hope you folks can do that. Okay, now if we can move on to our mission statement. Do we have a slide for that? Okay, please join me. Our mission is to create a joyful sanctuary for spiritual and intellectual growth, embracing all souls in the nurturing community from which we go forth as activists for social justice and as stewards of the natural world. Now I invite you to take a few deep breaths, settle in, and enjoy our prelude.
our words for coming together this morning are from my colleague Gretchen Haley. This is a call for all the people longing for liberation, all who wander too often the desert, not sure of the way forward, too often thirsty and afraid, looking for water. Here is a call to collect ourselves and the hopes we have tucked away, set aside too often for another day. Here we are building a welcome table that never finds its end, a river that cannot run dry. The waters are always rapid and then still, steady, and then waterfalls. There is nothing tidy or perfect possible in this journey. Abundant life is messy and glorious, filled with risk. This is a call for the diving in with all the dreams of your heart, the struggles, the silliness, the fear, the hunger, the courage, the community, the love. Here we remember the time for joy is always now. Come, let us worship together. And I invite Tom to come light our chalice with these words from Suzelle Lynch. Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of a match, we make it new again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered this spiritual community and realized we were home. We light this chalice for renewal. And now I invite Randy James to share our story for all ages, Higgins, A Drop with a Dream by Christopher Bice.
Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time, so all the lovely green grass was turning brown, all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water. One day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. All the other drops listened politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true. Higgins, said one, "Get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. One day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again. Eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea, but everyone thought he was being foolish. That Higgins is nothing but a dreamer, they said. Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket. For a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going in the bucket with Higgins." And he leaped through the air and landed kerplunk in the bucket. Then 2 other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Then 10 drops jumped through the air into the bucket. Then 30, then 50, then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Soon the bucket was completely full, but there was still more drops that wanted to join. So they found another bucket and hopped in. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, then 3, then 4, then 10, then hundreds, and then thousands of buckets of water. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and all of the water flowed together to make a mighty stream. Everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green again, the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more. All of this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true. Because he knew that altogether he was just a drop in the bucket, because he knew that although he was just a drop in the bucket, enough drops in the bucket make a bucket full. And when there are enough buckets with the wind behind them, then justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Here ends our story.
I invite you to prepare for a time of contemplation, meditation, and prayer. Our meditation this morning is a video meditation titled "The Strength of Water."
The strength of water takes on many forms, just as each of us has a unique and necessary strength that we bring to our community and the work of love. Take a moment now to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit and bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Are you a roaring fall wearing rock away with sheer force of will? Are you a small sliver of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly and steadily? Are you buoyant, like a great salt lake, practiced at holding yourself or others aloft? Are you tenacious like the mountain stream, finding your way down and around and through every obstacle you face? Are you still and calm like the pond at daybreak, radiant peace found by your shores? Are you in touch with hidden depths, pulling from a vast well deep within? Do you soothe like the steam rising from a cup of tea? Do you dissolve away stubborn muck like dishwater? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog. Do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? Do you roll with the ebb and flow, with the rhythm of the ocean waves? Settle your mind upon the strength, the power that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart, draw it up into your soul, and there find peace. As we endure difficult times together, we need each of our power, each of our resilience, each of our love to make us whole.
And knowing that we are one people in spirit, bound together in every joy and sorrow, let us hold one another and all who are not with us today in prayerful concern. Blessed be and amen. And I invite you to sing along with our response video. Each week when we worship together in person, we gather an offering to sustain this fellowship and serve our wider community. While we're not gathering in person and cannot literally pass the baskets, we do ask again that those who are able continue to give to sustain the fellowship through this crisis and beyond. And I remind you that to give or fulfill your pledge, checks can be mailed to the P.O. Box or dropped in the drop box at the Fellowship Hall. Or you can click on the donate button on the landing page of our website and make a secure contribution through PayPal with your credit card. We also know that this crisis may have some serious financial repercussions for some of our members and friends. And so, as always, we are grateful for whatever gifts you bring, and the most precious gift that you bring is your presence. Thank you. I have one reading this morning, and it is River Song by Jess Reynolds. Waters rush and tumble, crashing wild like children playing soccer on the lawn. The rolling rumble beneath the surface is never a subway train, only the earth, only ever her mortal dirt that makes the waters dance in silk and lace. Hear the music from her lips, bird seed from a torn paper bag, water over slate and stone, molten gold. Sing sacred like the hummingbird, the pounding drums, an ache for the altar, deeper than the catacombs and wider than the sky. Call us back to the hearth where the flames are lit. Run water, fresh and salted, over our toes as we touch wick to wick, the spark a gut punch, the river, something like absolution. Here ends our reading. Well, welcome to the new 2020-2021 program year for the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Beaufort. This begins our 5th full program year together. Can you believe it? This begins our 5th year together. And as I was preparing this service, I was thinking, well, even if we do get a hurricane, we will be able to hold our in-gathering water service together because we're all online. I know, it's not much of a silver lining, but it's what I've got. The Soul Matters theme for this month is renewal, and this service is titled Refresh and Reset, and I'd add Renew. I know that for many of us, these past 6 months have been difficult. I'm sure none of us expected the country to still be in the throes of a global pandemic at this point, or for over 193,000 people nationwide to have died from it. Wouldn't it be great if we could push a big reset button like we can on our computers and go back in time and make some changes in the federal response to the pandemic? I know it's a dream. Still, we can take a step back ourselves. We can take a breath and reset our own responses. Anxiety, annoyance, fatigue, these are all responses to the need to keep taking appropriate precautions, like washing our hands frequently and wearing masks in public, and limiting our exposure to people outside of our own households, not meeting in groups indoors, and so forth. We can refresh our memories too. Was there ever a hard time before that you thought would last forever? Maybe a military tour of duty? Maybe recovery from an illness or surgery or a broken bone? Those seem to take forever to heal. Or maybe a seemingly endless time of sitting in a basement during a tornado watch, waiting for the all clear. How about the many years it took to get to your next birthday? Way back when you were a child, it always seemed to take like 3 years to go from being 6 to being 7. Take a moment and think. Refresh your memory of waiting, of hoping, of not knowing just what will come next or when things will change for the better. Having refreshed our memories, we can reset our expectations. A lot of us have had to do that already. I know, I have myself. People have had to postpone reunion gatherings and weddings, cancel vacations and international travel, and restructure, there's another how we move through our regular routines. Now we know we will be virtual for a while yet, and we don't know how long. We don't know when an effective treatment will be found or when an effective vaccine will be developed. And we don't know how long after either of these happen that it will become safe to worship together again. So today we refresh and we reset, and I invite you also to renew. Renew your commitment to our UUFB covenant, the words that describe how we agree to be together, whether we are in person or online. Renew our commitment to being respectful and responsible. Renew our commitment to honor the covenant and carry our mission to the wider world. And in affirming and renewing our commitment to covenant with one another, we can also renew our commitment to financially supporting this faith community. Yes, it's time for our annual stewardship campaign, and pledge packets were mailed to all members and pledging friends this past week. Our board and financial advisory committee annually create a budget for the fellowship based on the pledges received from members and friends. So please do look through the pledge materials and return your pledge form to the fellowship office as soon as possible. Now, beyond pledging year to year, I also invite you to consider thinking a little longer term, perhaps looking into making a planned gift to the endowment fund. This fund has received many sporadic gifts, often memorial gifts after memorial services. But planned giving is a way to pass on a part of one's estate through a bequest or an insurance policy or some other financial instrument. I'm sure members of our endowment fund committee would be happy to talk with you about it if you have interest. So today, we refresh our memories, we reset our expectations, and we renew our commitments to our covenant, our fellowship, to Unitarian Universalism, and to bringing our mission out into the world beyond the physical walls of our buildings and beyond the confines of the Zoom meeting room as well. In the past few years, when we've had our water service, I've invited people to write a few lines about their water or their relationship to water on a little card. Now, and then while everyone takes turns pouring water into a common vessel, the words on the cards are read, alternating between two voices. This year, following the inspiration from our flower service back in May, I invited people to send in photos of water and some words about water. And then Tom and I recorded those words, as well as some selected words from the last 2 years' service, and put together this video montage, which I invite you to enjoy. The Last Words of A River Runs Through It by Norman MacLean. I am haunted by waters.
Water nourishes the plants that contribute to human existence.
I read somewhere a long time ago that some people simply must live by the water. I think John and I are like that. Notwithstanding the awesome power of water, which we know and respect, it is the majestic and calming beauty that calls to me.
Sitting by the water, rivers, lakes, ocean, waterfall, ponds, has a way of calming my soul any time of day. But my favorite times by the water are dawn and dusk, when the light plays so beautifully on the water's surface.
I am so very grateful for the hot, clean water from my kitchen faucet.
From Annie Dillard. What does it feel like to be alive? Living, you stand under a waterfall.
Water is holy. Water is pure. Water is gentle, yet it holds the power to wash away mountains. Bring your sorrows to the water and watch them be eroded away.
Sitting on the bluff on Bay Street, seeing the view Rob and I had from our house, now brings me peace. I'm grateful to be able to enjoy it again and to be in the presence of the healing power of water.
I love the feel of putting cool water over my face and hair when I'm hot. I love to watch the waves of the ocean flowing in and out. The rhythm it creates is entrancing.
My water comes metaphorically from the Pacific Ocean, wild and cold, and from Hunting Island State Park, gentle and warm, both giving life to whales, baby sea turtles, and us. We are united by our need for and reverence for its elemental power.
You just don't realize how essential water is until you don't have it.
Living near water is good for my spirit.
The luxury of clean bottled water and a tub full for flushing if needed.
Water, may there be enough for all, yet not too much to create destruction.
Water has brought me stability.
My water is a small token of the water I wish for those without sufficient water. My heart aches for them.
Lying on my back, floating with eyes closed and hearing the water lapping around me. What a day.
I believe that every moment of this life is holy. Each morning's shower or bath, a float in the river or a swim in the ocean, can be like baptism and begin the next blessed moment in this life.
The waves of the sea, nourishment for the body, hydration.
Having clean water to drink requires a delicate balance of human efforts.
Water is life. Whenever scientists search other planets for life, they look for signs of water. Water is love. Happy or sad, tears show love.
Peace like a river flows.
Beauty and power of ancient seas, the calm Atlantic here and the wild rocky shore of the Pacific Northwest.
Water is life-giving, life-sustaining. It is as vital and precious as breath.
Water, the foundation of all life. Thus, it is indeed sacred, regardless whether one is religious or not.
Sitting on a bench next to our mountain stream, the sound is peaceful, calming our minds. Memories of our children playing in the creek are shared. The stream attracts lots of wildlife.
Water created all life, and water sustains it yet. Americans used to take clean water for granted. We see now that everyone doesn't enjoy this.
Jumping into a pool or cold river or warm ocean immediately soothes me to the core. It feels like home.
Water keeps me flowing.
I am a drop of water in the wide ocean, part of a powerful unifying force, always changing, always the same, moving in unity with forces larger than myself. Moon, tide, wind, storms, calm, soft, gentle, wild, the spirit of love and life.
Ocean waves are one of my favorite relaxing sounds.
Water, the flowing, ever-changing life force that envelops and renews me. Its taste and sound and refreshing feel remind me of the ever-present energy, breath, and power of love.
Water is cleansing. It washes away the sorrows of my soul.
We need water for tears that relieve us of grief.
Agua, water, is what we mostly are, what we mostly need, and what we mostly become.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Water is the elixir of the soul. It can bring peace to the soul, nourishing the mind, body, and spirit.
As the giver and sustainer of life, that without which life is not possible, water is the spirit of life.
Awe, wonder, and joy. And I invite you to sing along to I've Got Peace Like a River. Chris? Our benediction, the words adapted from Cale Rice. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling toward its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today we considered water, though our experiences have differed. All waters mingle, as all people mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, which is all space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings and a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home, and all rivers run to the sea. And I will extinguish our chalice and invite you to join in the chalice extinguishing words. The chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our gathering in community with a mission for justice and our hearts full of love. And next week, please come back. We will be celebrating Mabon with Stephen Burton